Hello there and welcome to the Star Wars Showcase YouTube channel. While we are still in a bit of a lull and awaiting some new Black Series releases, today we're going to take a look at the G.I. Joe Classified Series Action Solider Infantry, which is a fantastic new release from Hasbro and I think really sets a new gold standard for what a deluxe figure should be. Let's take a look. Alrighty, so we have a 360 view of what one of our fully kitted soldiers looks like. And I think what really sets this figure apart is it comes with, I think it said on the box, 25 total accessories. And all of those accessories can be mixed and matched to give us very unique looks. And so, looking first and foremost just at our basic figure, this uses our very common G.I. Joe sculpts. We're getting a lot of the improvements Hasbro's made over the last couple of years in terms of articulation. We have double jointed elbows and knees, as well as those butterfly joints. And so in terms of just our base body here, very normal, what you would expect there. But, you know, again, good articulation, which I think is a good base template to work off when we are adding all of these extra accessories and all of these extra goodies. And so the one call out here is the figure that I have here is a little bit loose in terms of some of the joints there on the legs. Some of these holsters here slip and slide a little bit more easily than I would like them to, so did just want to call out that one point. That bit of negative feedback aside here, I think this is a really strong release here, and I think what sets it apart, especially from many of our recent Star Wars Black Series Deluxe releases, is just how much this figure is coming with at that, $30 to $35 price tag. And so this particular look that I've got kitted out, he obviously has that vest that we've seen, but we have a removable backpack, as well as all of these different pouches here, which can be worn on his front, his sides, and his belt in really whatever fashion that you like best. And I love the ability to, build out a squad if you had a couple of these and really give some individuality to all of the different figures that would make up a little fire team that you are making. So these accessories that I am pulling off the figure here are just kind of one variation, one look, as there are some additional other accessories that it comes with to build things out even further. So in addition to a bunch of different gear that is modular, you also have the ability to choose from either an African American or a Caucasian soldier with matching hands to go with this. And so his fingers do poke out a little bit of these fingerless gloves, which I think is a really nice effect, as they could have just given you an all-gloved look, and said, there's your one-hand sculpt. But the ability to kind of play around with that and break things out for yourself more, I think is a really nice touch for this figure. With that as well, he comes with some additional accessories, and I'll have a full breakdown of all of the accessories just a little bit later here in the video. But I do love, this hooded look, and I think to cap it all off, if you don't want the fully, vested out looking soldier, we also have some soft goods that this guy is coming with. So he's got this little poncho that can fit over. You will need to remove all of the different hoods or different accessories just to get that to fit over. But what I think is really cool about this is he does have a fully functional pocket there on the front of his chest, and I think this is just one more kind of dusty, desert appearance that we can make this soldier into and really expand out a squad beyond, just kind of one look. Now, I think the criticism that you have to bring forward here for Hasbro is, why are the other figure lines not doing things like this in terms of all of our different accessories and modularity? And I think it would be disingenuous to not point out that a lot of these items are coming from existing G.I. Joe figures already. Our weapons, our backpacks, many of these are reuse, but they have such a strong foundation from, their articulation and their base bodies that we're able to reuse those elements like this and get us a little bit more bang for our buck along the way. On top of that, I think you also need to account for licensing costs. Hasbro owns the G.I. Joe IP, which means when it comes to creating figures, they're able to put a little bit more in there for the same cost that it might be to produce, the equivalent Marvel or Star Wars figure. So a lot of different elements there. I know the gripe is certainly one that I still hold, though, because look how much this figure is coming with. We're putting that deluxe label on there, but he's coming with all of these different pouches, coming with, two head sculpts, multiple pairs of hands, different weapons that you're able to play around with, as well as extra things like hoods and dog tags, all of these different elements that are creating very unique action figures that we're just not seeing with many of our other lines, who almost look empty. in that action figure box. It'll just be the figure and like one other item. So I certainly would love to see a little bit more, with our Hasbro, Black Series or Marvel Legend lines. And maybe that means we get a little bit of repetition and repeat of things that we already have for other figures. I don't really know what that looks like in terms of execution, but would just love to see more for the price tag that we've seen increase more and more over the last couple of years. But coming back to this figure in particular, I do want to provide just an amount of detail, a full breakdown of everything that this guy is coming with that you're able to play around with and build with. So in addition to just our basic figure who is wearing that vest and has 2 holsters, you get the 2 head sculpts, you get 2 pairs of hands, you get a helmet, you get a hood, or a hood piece that can be worn with, as if the hood is not over the head. You get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sets of pouches that you can vary around the different input slots on the vest, a pair of dog tags, 2 different pistols, a walkie-talkie, a backpack, a larger machine gun, a smaller assault rifle, a stand for the figure to use, and then I think the most impressive part of this figure is the big 50 caliber machine gun that he comes with, which is 3 separate parts for the machine gun itself, a giant stand underneath, and then the ammunition belt to actually feed in. And so this is a ton of stuff that is coming with this figure for a $35 price tag. It almost feels like for any other line, we might be buying this as like a separate standalone accessory pack or paying like the price of 2 figures for all that is coming here for just this one. So a ton of value for this particular set, which I think is, again, just another testament to why the G.I. Joe Classified line I think is the strongest at Hasbro right now. As a final point for comparison, I did want to bring this figure up and compare it against some of the different, quote-unquote deluxe releases that we've gotten in the Star Wars Black Series line. And I think there's some real variability. It's hard to really point to what constitutes a deluxe release for the Black Series. Because Malgus and Chrysanthemum in the back there were deluxe, which might make sense because of their size, but Cobb Vanth as a smaller figure was also deluxe, while Darth Malak here, who is certainly bigger than our average release, was not deluxe. Shorter than them all is our Endor Rebel, who is perhaps most comparable to this G.I. Joe soldier, is a deluxe release, despite only coming with, 1, 2, 3 accessories in comparison to all that we are getting with this soldier. So I kind of wish the Black Series would be able to nail down a little bit more firmly what actually constitutes this deluxe release, as well as the additional price tag, because when it comes to G.I. Joe, I think that value is more apparent, and I think I'm certainly more comfortable paying a little bit more for what we're getting. So let me know down in the comments below your thoughts on this particular release. If you feel comfortable with this receiving the quote-unquote deluxe label, and what you might like to see more happening in our, Black Series and Marvel Legends lines to hopefully catch up a little bit to G.I. Joe here. So thank you so much for watching, everyone. I appreciate your support. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you enjoyed this figure as well. If you'd like to check out more content like this, please feel free to check out some of the other links popping up on your screen now.